What?
Ooh, all right, Dan. We are live. Welcome. We're a little late tonight, but we're better late than never. Is that right?
Better late than never.
Wow,
Amen.
this has been powerful. What
Happy
an experience.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I don't know why my sound is so low, but I hope you can hear me.
I hear you very well. You're coming through loud and clear.
Excellent. Um, that is great. I'm trying to turn my audio up and we're just gonna rock with it. But I'm glad we're here tonight.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
getting ready to text you our link that is on YouTube. Hello to all of our friends that are on Facebook. Will you all say hello to us in the comment section? We're going to start talking about some lessons we've learned about how to maximize the new year. Listen, Dad, I don't know about you. I'm looking forward to making 2021 an incredible year.
Well, tell me what you plan on doing differently from what you did last year.
I'll tell you.
What you gonna do?
Um, I think there are some keys that we can share. One of those is, hey Brandon. One of those is uh, self awareness and being intentional about my own goals. I think new seasons bring us into an awakening sometimes of things that were always there.
Okay.
And that's kind of the place I'm in. I don't know that I'm awakened to anything that's new that didn't exist before, but I'm certainly awakened. Who can't you hear, Shantara? Please let me know. Because I
She
am
said I
having
see
some
can see
issues.
and hear. I see can see and hear. Oh no no no. Something said everyone can see and
Yeah, I
hear.
think it's you. Your volume is low. Is there a reason?
The reason why my volume is low, my volume is maxed out.
I'm saying your microphone. Y'all tell us in the comment section if you can hear me clearly and if you can hear Senior clearly,
Do you hear me?
because I hear him really low, and I want to share these things and I want to hear from him. Somebody says they can hear us both. Okay, Dad, no worries.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Shantara, that's what I thought. Dad, I can't hear you clearly. Someone else says they can't.
I hear you.
You're a little low, Red.
I don't know what to do. Everything in here that
Okay.
says stop. It says cam and the mic. Audio. Let me check my audio. Audio. Oh, my audio is low.
Okay.
And what do I do?
They say your volume is lower. You're a little low. You're probably on one of these little discount computers you were given.
Oh, actually, I'm on a $2,700 Mac 14 Pro.
Well, maybe you need to come over here to PC with the rest of us. They're saying they can hear me and not you.
Pro.
Why don't you leave the link that I sent you and come back, and I'll sing a song or something and wait on you. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Just exit out of the whole program and come back to it. You have caused us a lot of technical difficulties today. I'd like to add that.
Well, I'm looking at this. I need to fix the problem. See, if you want to go into 2021, if you leave out and come back with the same problem, you haven't done anything. I want to fix the problem.
Try it and see. Leave and come back, and then we'll see.
MacBook
Darren Thomas is in the building. Somebody said Rick is clear, Senior is low. You see all these comments,
Uh,
right?
I can hear
Do you
you.
have headphones in your house, Reverend?
You want me to get up and go get them?
No, I don't want you to stand up at all.
Let me see.
Woo!
Can I shut my screen? Let me stop my camera. There you go.
Yeah, do that. Your screen is gone now. Okay. Y'all working with these baby boomers is a trip. Listen, I want to share some of the things we'll be talking about while we wait on Dad to come back. We already know it's a new year. You've already seen so many New Year's resolution posts and those kind of things, and I'm certainly an advocate of that. I think we're going to discover together that my dad is not. Scott, pray for my dad, man. He's a baby boomer. Um, but
But
there we
there
go.
we go.
Was that me or
Was
you,
that me or
Dad?
you, Dad?
Uh,
Oh, I hear you
I hear
clearly
you
now.
clearly now.
you hear me
But
clearly.
I'm giving a ring.
Now, what'd you get?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Okay, what do you get now? What do you get now?
You're
You're
clear,
clear,
Am I
but
clear now?
I'm
Okay. Let me see what it says for audio. Audio. My audio still isn't. Uh, well, it looks
now,
like I got more audio now than I had.
I'm
I'm
getting an
getting an
echo.
echo.
Turn your volume down. You're too loud. You should know this better than me.
That's not
That's not
changing.
changing.
The only reason you get an
Um,
echo is when you too loud.
undo
Undo
whatever you
whatever
did.
you did.
All I did was put on these these things here, whatever you call them.
Okay. Can't start this broadcast for real.
So let me take. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect them. I just disconnected them.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I've always heard you.
Okay, you're low again. So whatever. Do you have speakers by your computer? Because I'm hearing me still.
You hear you coming through my speaker.
You're too low. I can't hear you, and I'm echoing.
Okay, so Rick,
I sense
let me just
tonight is about.
computer down, and I'm gonna come back up.
Okay, do that.
So
I'm not gonna do this all night with you, Red.
right, I'm on a $700 Mac.
Now I'm getting the echo again. All right. So you all, we're going to be talking about some of the key things that we have learned. I see I'm not echoing anymore. Rakita says Dad is watching on multiple devices. I bet. So we're going to be talking about some key things. Once he comes back, I'll be getting to share some of the major things. While we're talking, what's up, Rob? Good to see you, man. If you have any New Year's resolutions that you're not ashamed to share, I want to talk through some of those, and we're going to be addressing that. Can you put them in the comment section? Anybody got new, or if you don't have any, if you don't do New Year's resolutions, drop that in the comment section. But if you have some, let's talk through them, right? We're here. It's a quick conversation, and let's talk through what your New Year's resolutions are. For me, I have some financial resolutions. I have some that are spiritual, some that are physical, right? And some that are intellectual. I am honing in this year on what I have learned to be the 7 areas of wellness, right? There are 7 dimensions of wellness that are referenced. Let's see. Let's get Rev in here and give him a try.
I just did a mic check. My mic is working fine.
Yours is.
Am I what?
Are you watching multiple devices?
No, just on my $2,700 MacBook Pro.
Okay. We don't care.
The echo is because your volume is up too loud.
That's not true.
Okay, so Rick, we can't do this all night. We can't fix on this all night.
We can't. So what? This has been very fun. If I'm, and this is what happens. So this is what we got to do. When you're not talking, we have to mute your audio because now I have you muted and I'm not getting any echo.
Okay.
Whoa. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Excellent. As long as you're muted while I'm talking, we are good. So I want to first, Dad, talk through what I have learned are the 11 dimensions of wellness, because I think that so many times, specifically as leaders or even Christians, we think that if we get it right physically and we look good, and even if we get it right spiritually and we have a strong relationship with God, then things are well.
Did you say 11?
I said 7, and I just want to name them, and we can address the ones we choose to. There are 7. Go ahead.
It just is 11 of anything is just too much. 11 of anything is too much.
Right. So we have 7 areas of wellness, right? And so instead of us having a small way to think that we're well, these 7 areas are spiritual, social, emotional, intellectual, environmental, physical, and occupational. Those are some of the ways that we can better take care of ourselves. I see that resolution. And I think yes, Rob, you got it right. There are 7. And my key piece in this new year, my key focus is just that I am well. We spend a lot of time specifically as leaders tending to other people. But this go round, I'm making sure that I'm well. What about you, Rev? Talk about the new year.
Well, I think I want to listen. Apart from the pandemic did happen, and we cannot act like it didn't happen. And I know I've heard everybody talk about 2020 was a killer, 2020, and everybody was wanting 2020 to be gone. I'm not one of those that really complained about 2020. So the thing that I plan to do in 2021 is live, and I think one of the things I'm hearing people saying, living my best life. I lived my best life in 2020, and I want to continue living my best life, which means absolutely taking care of myself first. Even the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, which means you got to love yourself. And I don't mean stand in the mirror and sing how great thou art, but love yourself enough to eat right. Love yourself enough. Now something is happening. Love yourself enough to eat right. Love yourself enough to exercise. Love yourself enough to forgive stuff and let stuff go so that you don't go to sleep.
I just muted you. Do this for me. Do you see at the bottom, is there a little settings thing that says cam/mic? Click that settings thing and then click audio and be sure that echo cancellation is clicked. Click it and save it.
And it is clicked.
Now we should not have me echoing. Shout out to Amani Lene, our tech person who texted me our solution. Now we can just talk there. You only have about 26 minutes of my time, sir.
Well, listen, you know what I was doing when you called me. Rick, I'm not going to fight with you all night tonight.
I know that's right. So go ahead. I want you to go ahead right where you were going.
So loving yourself, and again, not standing in the mirror singing how great thou art, but being able to do things for yourself. Rick, can I tell you what I told my church today?
Please do. The short version.
And it wasn't 7 things or 11 things like you first said. You first said 11 things, but it's really, I think it's 7 things, but 7 is a lot to remember.
Go ahead, Rev. Just talk about what you said to your folks. Don't come for me tonight.
I told my people these things. You got to forget your failures. You got to forget your failures. First of all, don't go into the year beating yourself down. And I see Rob Small there, and this message is really good for Rob Small and for others like me and you who've had some failures. All of us have had failures. So I'm just going to give you the points. Forget your failures. Forget the things that you did not accomplish because yesterday is gone. So you just got to forget about that. Ain't nothing you can do about the failures that you had other than let them bog you down and slow you down for the race that you're running. And the second thing you have to do is give up the grudges. We all been mistreated by somebody or something. And so you got to let it go. And that's what I told my people today. And that's what I told me. The first message is let it go. Let it go. That's family. That's friends. That's situations. You got to let it go. And then the third thing was commit to restoring relationships.
Wow.
And one of the things I said to my congregation and to my virtual church this morning is I really don't have any new friends. Rick, you know all of my friends, Stokes, Reverend Stokes, Craig Wilson, Pierre, Bunton. I'm talking about my generation of friends, Durant.
Right.
Those guys, those are my friends. And one of the things that I've committed to doing is restoring the relationships with people that I have let down. Sure. And still my friends. People that know that I may not come through every time. And for 50 years, somebody like Stokes, Antel Payne has still been my friend. So those are trusted relationships that many of us have walked away from because of small things. And so restore the relationships. And then the final thing I said to my people today is to turn your back on your transgressions. Walk away from the transgression. Turn your back on the things that have been pulling you down.
Yeah.
So right quick, just forget your failures. give up your grudges, restore your relationships, and turn your back on your transgressions. Now, that's 4 things, and it's a whole lot easier to work on the 4 than it is the 7 or the 11 that you're talking about.
Thank you so much for that. Very, very shady, but very, very necessary for that. Because I think that if we continue, I think what we're both saying, one of the major takeaways is if we just continue as we're going now in any area of life, we can't expect anything different. And I think that's a major takeaway from the lessons that you share with your congregation today. But as it relates, go ahead.
One of the things that I say to all people is not to set yourself up for failure. Not set some hypothetical type goals, and so many people set themselves up for defeat. So I don't really have those real lofty goals. I'm going to save $1 million. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to this, that, or the other. So I think the goals that we set should be like internal goals. And those are the kind of goals that I believe are more realistic, more spirit set, and the kinds of goals that I think God will help us reach faster than he will help us when we say, I'm going to save $1 million, or I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and you've got chitlins sitting thawing out in the sink.
You know what, though? I differ in that opinion, and I'll tell you why. Because I've learned a method of goal setting that is an acronym called SMART.
Okay.
And so the SMART, that is all goals that you're actually going to reach must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And so what I hear you giving is this measure of grace for oneself that I think we have to give ourselves. But I also think that if your goals are not specific, if your goals are not measurable, I think to your point, they should very much so be attainable and realistic. But if they're not specific, measurable, and time-based, and those do feel constraining and heavy, but I think if we remove those, then we go from having goals to wishes. Come on, somebody.
You got an example of a SMART?
Absolutely.
An example.
Absolutely. So kind of an idea that you just kind of spoke against, which is to say, hey, I'm going to lose X amount of pounds. If it is a real goal and it is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, you can say, like me, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, right? Because if you don't, what are you tracking? If these goals are just as the baby boomer on this conversation says, if these goals are just internal, there is no means of tracking how well you're doing, how far you're going. Rob Small says this is a corporate kind of mentality, and absolutely, corporations are individuals, and if we would treat ourselves as much as well as we treat the means through which we gain income, I think we'll all be better off. So that's a specific thing, right? So of course it means no more fast food. There are some other things to that, but I need a time-based goal. I need something specific. I need something that is measurable so that I can know whether or not I hit it. If I sit here today talking to you at 230 pounds, and I know by the time I'm 30, I'd like to be just 200, then I need to set a measurable goal and not just one that says, I got to do better, right? Because I think we do ourselves a disservice, and I'll be sitting here at 230 January 22 saying I'm doing better. And my goal has not been achieved because it didn't reach those SMART metrics.
Okay, so you set the goal to lose 30 pounds and you lose 30 pounds, and
then the goal is achieved. I get to set a new goal if I choose. I get to celebrate the achievement of the goal that I set out to reach. But goals are not individual goals. are not a moving target, right? And so that is, if I achieve the goal that I set, that's literally just done. That's it.
Okay, and if you don't,
then I can recalibrate, I can reset. I may learn in trying to reach a goal that while I thought it reached the SMART metrics, maybe that's not the R, which is realistic. Maybe 30 pounds in 90 days is not realistic for me if I'm not going to stop eating Five Guys, if I'm not going to do cardio and lift weights regularly, right? And so you learn. It's all, I think, and that's a key reason we call this lessons learned, because you never lose.
Right.
They say fail often. I don't think you ever really fail.
Right.
Because if you are attentive in life, you always learn. And when you learn, you've won.
Okay. I guess I probably take issue. If I took issue, I would take issue with setting the weight loss being the end all be all.
That's why we named the 7 the 7 dimensions of wellness, because wellness is not just physical, right? Wellness has those 7 dimensions, and then, right, that's just a key piece. I still got spiritual, I still got social, I still got intellectual, I still have emotional, I still have environmental, right? And that is how I think that speaks to the broader thing that you're referring to, which is this internal wellness. And if I tend to all of the different dimensions of my wellness, then I can be made well.
Because when I say forget your failures, there will be many people who set out to lose an amount of weight in 2020. And when they did not lose that weight, they splurged, they got disgusted with themselves, and they just went ballistic with eating because they failed. You understand what I'm saying?
Totally. And I think you can fail. I think you only fail when you do not learn.
That's good.
That's good.
You only fail.
You only fail when you do not learn.
You do not learn.
And I was looking today, and I was reading, and it's funny, but I think it's very true in a lot of ways. There are a lot of reasons that people are overweight, and we certainly understand that. But in general, especially for people like you and I, who are just kind of in and out of our wellness practice physically through in every season, right? They were saying that if you are out of shape, it lends to the idea that specifically for men that you are either depressed or weak.
Okay.
And so I think if we're going to talk about how our whole wellness process, just being strong, who doesn't want to be a strong person, especially right? Men and women all want to be strong. And so I think we in the case of somebody failing to lose weight and just falling off the bandwagon completely, you didn't take the time in you missing your goal to learn, well, maybe I just learned what doesn't work for me, right? Maybe it's the treadmill's not going to do it for me. Maybe I need an elliptical.
I'm not certain that we look at every person who's heavy and say you're depressed.
I try to count. I know that that's not true, Rev. That's
right. Because wait, what's our next lesson? What else are we talking about?
We got to change the subject. You're going to get us kicked off Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? Another key piece that I learned in some reading that I did this last week, Richard Foster has this really well-known book that I would encourage everybody who's on here. If growth in your spirituality is a part of what you're doing in the new year, I strongly encourage you to read Richard Foster's book, Celebration of Discipline. And this key piece, Dad, especially being separated like we are sheltered in place predominantly, right? Except for those who are essential workers, but generally our entire society is sheltering in place. And Richard Foster talks through spiritual disciplines. He talks about praying, talks about fasting, he talks about meditation. But one of the spiritual disciplines that Foster deals with that I want you and I to talk about is the spiritual discipline, and he uses them kind of as a fountain into the same idea, but he specifically deals with the discipline of solitude. And he talks about how silence and solitude go hand in hand. And in this season of sheltering in place, where people are alone, they're not in crowds, they don't have people to dress up for and to impress, they don't have the work environments to kind of fuel them if they're extroverts or what have you. Yeah. And so there is, especially in this new year, 2021, January, it's different than any other January we have known because we are in solitude. Right. And so one of the key things is, how do we learn to appreciate the solitude that we have been forced in? And it has to do with learning how to appreciate silence. There's this new app there, and I started to invite you to it, but I opted not to for reasons that we can talk about offline. But there's this new app that I know you've heard of called Clubhouse. Okay. And you heard of Clubhouse?
Never heard of it.
I'm proud of you for being so disconnected.
Is it like TikTok?
Not at all.
Can I get on TikTok?
You cannot get on TikTok, and you may end up getting on Clubhouse. But Clubhouse is like talk radio, just like you and I are live right now. Yeah. Clubhouse, it's different social media. It's only voices. You go into rooms and you talk. You host rooms and you talk. You share verbal information. No pictures, no videos, right? Yeah. And it's become a new medium for people to just have playing in the background of their life. Like people just turn their TV on when the house is quiet, just turn some music on. And Richard Foster talks about the discipline, especially for believers, of just being in silence and in solitude. And I think that one of the ways we're going to master 2021 is to learn to appreciate the silence that we get to obtain in solitude. Because if we don't appreciate noiselessness, then we will drown in noisiness.
Well, that's good. That's good. But why must we be silent because we are alone? Why must we be silent? I mean, what's my hobby? Do you know my hobbies? What do I do?
Chickens, bikes.
Well, I do chickens, I do bikes, I do dogs, I do TV, and I do silence. Yes, I think learning how to be alone is, we were forced into that.
Right.
We were forced into that. And whether we want to learn or not, you've got to learn to adapt to what we call a new norm. For example, I've done 2 funerals here of late. And the people in our family who've had the virus, all of my grown kids, all of my adult kids, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, and everyone. So I don't do the elbows. I was at a funeral. A fellow almost fell trying to elbow me. And the more he elbowed, the more I walked away. So one of the things I think we have to teach people how to treat us now in this. But I wouldn't say that I'm real silent. I would say I am alone. I'm loving the time that I'm spending with me. I'm loving the time that I'm getting to know the things that I can do. I can cook, I can sew, I can put buttons on my misplaced shirts. And so I just think there are a lot of things that we have to do to keep my house clean. And so there are just a number of things that we can do. But silence, I don't know how.
Baxter says that silence is not about the absence of sound or noise, but silence is this inner state of being. He talks about how you can be in a room full of people and a room full of noise, and you can still be in a place of silence and solitude within. But I don't think that you can reach that place where there is literal audible noise in your life all the time, right? Just like you can be strong in the gym and you leave the gym and you maintain that strength. I think in life it is absolutely necessary to especially if you're interested in hearing the voice of God. It is absolutely
Nah. Okay.
And so that's where Baxter is going with this.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested in hearing the voice of God, it's absolutely necessary that there are times of complete silence, even if it's 5 a.m. or when you open your eyes or late in the evening or even any time in the day, right? And
so I think that's when goals become attainable when there's purpose behind the goals. And
sure.
So if like the spiritual connection, the purpose for silence, the purpose for losing weight,
sure,
for gaining weight, the purpose for running, the purpose for jogging. And I think everything, I really do, must have and I always like to sound churchy. I say that when I'm preaching, but I think everything has to have a God connection in order to really be something that we attain.
Sure.
Obtain. Yeah.
That God must be the center of all significant purpose.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on, I'm gonna leave you alone tonight. You've been a little dry on this call. Now,
I got on my Christmas jacket.
I like your shirt. Yeah. Now there is this idea, really out of another book that I really enjoy reading, and it talks about how we are more afraid of elephants than mosquitoes. But you've never been bitten by an elephant, and you've likely been bit by a mosquito.
Okay.
And there is this idea, even in goal setting, where we will focus on the macro, the big idea, the ultimate goal, and we will not give enough attention and focus to the micro, right? That is the comparison between the elephant that we're afraid of and the mosquito that we disregard. And so go ahead.
I thought the Bible said we strain at the net and we swallow the camel.
Well, the Bible also says that small foxes spoil the vine.
Okay. I haven't read that one.
Oh, it's in there, Reverend. Google me. But I think if we don't give enough attention to
big thing or a small thing,
the small things that make up the big thing, right? If I want to save $10,000,
okay,
this $9 meal may seem insignificant,
yeah,
right? But except it matters in the grand scheme of the $9 meal is just a mosquito that we don't fear, right? But it's the mosquitoes that bite us. It's the small foxes that spoil vines. Okay. And so we have to learn in our goal setting to whatever our goal is, right? You have given us a key point that I think is important. If the significance of our goal does not have a purpose that is centered in God, we should question it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But should everything check out? If I want to lose weight to be healthier, if I want to save money to secure my own sense of security in God and to bless other people and all these other things, I think that's all good. But the small things add up to the big thing. I to this day, I don't have any coins in my house. I don't really shop with cash anyway. But I think it's amazing how people, even in our culture, disregard coins when every dollar is made from coins.
Of coins. Okay.
You know, so what say you about appreciating small decisions every day because of what they compound and add up to?
Small decisions. Well, I don't know. I know.
I mean, I wanted you to say something profound.
I know that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to pull something profound from a non-profound question. You can get a question like, what's the big deal about small things? Well, all large things are made up of small things.
Sure.
Everything large is made up of small things. So don't overlook anything. Don't overlook any opportunity. Don't overlook anybody, any person or anything, because you never know. And again, it goes back to the spiritual. You never know what where the God factor is in that you're overlooking, whether that's a person or whether that's an opportunity. When I was a young preacher, I shunned I shunned storefront churches. When I was a young preacher, I shunned the real small situations. And in my older days, I found myself being more fond of smaller situations. So somebody just said the Bible said, "Despise not the small things." So yeah.
And I totally agree. And there's also this piece when you talk about not disregarding other people who you deem as small. I think it's also important to be careful not to deem ourselves as small, right? We
And not to deem ourselves as large.
Sure, but I think we have to deem ourselves as meaningful and significant. Is where I was going with that, and I use.
And maybe I'm saying more highly than we ought. I think
there we go. Right,
we ought to think well of ourselves.
Yes, and I say that in concert with. I'm trying to read the Bible in a year now. I have to our point about missing goals. This is my 3rd year in a row setting out to read the Bible in a year in its entirety, and I have not yet accomplished it, but I set out to do it again. It's a brand new year. And so one of the texts that I read, I think even today, started talking about the genealogy that we kind of sleep through when we read the Bible. We kind of skim over those names. But what was powerful to me is I'm still in like Genesis 11 or something. So at this point, I've just gotten introduced in the narrative to Abram. We've gone from Adam all the way through the lineage and genealogy, through Noah, through Cain and Abel, and now we're at Abram, right? And what I found significant, even in the genealogy that I still struggled to keep reading through today, was the fact that everybody added something of value, and even the names we don't know are responsible for the names we do. And I think what that says is that even when our values are different, we need everybody to understand, everybody under the sound of our voice, everybody in the world to understand that your value is significant even when it's different. Your contributions to the world are significant even when they are different. You may not be an Adam, you may not be an Abraham, but those unnamed people in between Adam and Abraham are the reason we know the people we do know. And I think it's important for everybody to understand. You may not have, if you're in ministry like you and I are, you may not have an international ministry. Whether I look at our views, we might as well look at the analytics because they exist. Yeah. And I looked at our watch night service, and a lady was on Facebook Live babbling. She was talking about nothing. She had 16,000 views in an hour. And when I tell you, God gave me such a word that if Bishop Jakes called me tomorrow, I'm gonna preach what I preach for watch night for Bishop Jakes or anywhere else in the world, right? And so I had 1,000. I preached to 1,700 views, right? Which I understand is not anything meager, but at the same time, comparatively, right? And I still realize that what I contributed, that the ministry that the Lord used me for, is still significant, regardless. You know what I'm saying? And I think we have to appreciate our own significance if we're going to find any value in our own lives.
Well, most definitely, you got to appreciate yourself, but I think we run the risk often in overvaluing ourselves and undervaluing others, and thinking more highly of ourselves. So that's one of the things that I try to be careful. It's hard. It's not hard to do. Sometimes the most popular people are the ones who do the least amount of work, and the work is done behind the scenes. Like those of us who broadcasting, there's a lot of things that go on to make a good broadcast go forth, and the people that's on the screen are the ones that's known, but you never get to know the ones that really do the work. Like going in the restaurant, the waitress just brings the food and gets the tip, but she's not the one that's cooking the food.
Yeah, I encourage the unseen warriors who are listening to us to be content with your calling despite its level of visibility, is what I'm hearing, Dad, that we can find contentment and appreciation in whoever we're called to be and whatever we're called to do, no matter the level of visibility. Visibility does not equate to significance.
Right.
You know, and I think that's a huge thing.
Right. Now we love visibility. We love visibility, but I just think those who are visible, and I try to do it with my musicians and with my tech people. I think those of us who are visible, it's important for us to acknowledge that we didn't get here. You didn't get here by yourself. No man's an island. You didn't get here by yourself. Patrick McNair, how you doing, Bishop?
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that speaks to that whole idea, right? About that lineage of genealogy that we find laden throughout scripture. To me, that's the lesson I get from it at this stage, that wow, no man is an island, and that everybody's contribution is designed to contribute to the larger picture. And I just love that, Dad. So what do you expect? Is there anything you expect differently in your 2021, or how are you? You gave 4 key points about how you're encouraging others to kind of approach this year. But outside of that, what are you doing? Anything different this year? I know I am, but what about you?
I really, one of my mentees asked me today. He says, "Do you have a theme for your church for 2021?" And I told him, I said, "No." I said, "I don't." I said, "I don't do themes anymore." He says, "Why not?" I said, "Because one year I used when I first started using themes, I used solidarity."
I remember that.
I used
something like
it was
2011,
and it was the most undivided fighting. I mean, we had signs that said unity. We had signs all over the place with one, and we were everything but one. We were everything but united. As a matter of fact, I think I got impeached the year that we had for solidarity. So now I'm like the song that says, "One day at a time, sweet Jesus." So I don't have those lofty, sweet, beautiful, and it could be that I'm a boomer, and it could be been there, done that. It could be a combination of a number of things. But I've tried I've tried it. I've tried the themes, I've tried the advertising, and so no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going one day at a time. And even when I said, everybody's been saying I'm looking for 2021 to be different. We got people in the hospital today. We got people sick today. We got people that's dying.
Somebody has a message for you to see.
Oh yeah, it's a new year. So what? That's what I preached today, really, Cassandra. It's a new year. And you know what, Rick, that comes from Melvin Rogers, my pastor, that preached that sermon, and your mom is laughing about it, but he preached that sermon over 30 years ago. That's one of the reasons now that I do not do themes, and I do not do all this lofty advertising that says it's a new year, blab it and grab it, name it and claim it. This year is going to be different, because my pastor preached 30 plus years ago, it's a new year, so what? And what he was really saying back then was, if you don't make some significant changes in your life, then the change from 20 to 21 and 19 to 20, it doesn't make any difference in the world. So I'm just going to run on, in the words of Lula Collins, and see what the end is going to be. And it will be hard for me to be disappointed, because I've not set lofty. I want the church to be vibrant. I want the church to be virtual. I want the church to be vigilant. I want my life to be the same way. I want you guys, all 4 of my children, want to be visible. But, it's going to be hard to disappoint your dad because of the reality of really 56 years, the reality of 35 years of pastoring. And you already know it's very little that the church can do to be a disappointment to me, because I understand church. And one of the things I'm so glad is that you understand church. So I ain't planning on losing no whole lot of weight. I gain it in the winter. I lose it in the summer. What about you?
I have some lofty goals, Reverend.
I bet you do. I'm sure. Tell me, give us some lofty goals you got.
I want to lose weight.
Okay, we talk about no more weight. Okay,
I'm just doing the roll call. I want to gain more financial stability. I want to just participate more actively in creating the life that I want. And
so here's Dad. And I think if I had heard this 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I would have looked at the person and says, a dull life, or you don't have it going on. And I don't like to sound churchy. And I make a living being churchy, but I don't like to sound churchy. I just need more of Jesus. Just I don't, the money. I don't need, no more houses, no cars. Money is not a goal. Houses is not a goal. Traveling is not a goal. And does that say Dad's just living a dull life? I think I live a wonderful life, but I just don't have.
I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I want and so I have spiritual goals. I'm fasting this year. Have not done a no food fast in my life, and I'll begin my first no food fast tomorrow. So I'm going after.
We could do that together. That would be a.
Come on, let's do 3 days, Monday through Wednesday, no food. We invite even everybody who's listening.
Wait. I just.
You just went grocery shopping?
I just bought this beef bologna and I had it cut.
Freeze it. It'll be good Thursday.
I'll start next week.
Yeah, no, do it next week. But I want more of God, and I'm going after God. But I want more of what God makes available here too. You already have $50 million, and you got 10 cars and 10 houses. So I don't expect you to want any of those things. But I'm far behind. And Lisa's fasting too. She's a part of our church. Hey, Aunt Linda, good to see you. And so, Dad, and my greatest pursuit, to your point, is more of God. But I'm telling you, I want to be a wiser spender and saver. I want to be healthier with the food I put in my body. I want to, similar to what you said, I want to care for the relationships that I have better this year. And I want to be intentional about this. I know that I'm spinning my wheels a little faster, and I'm investing a little more widely than you are. But really, it's the first of the year, and I think this is such a great time, if nothing else, to take inventory of where we are. And
I would be interested in knowing how people feel about, and do people listening to us think that I have no goals when I say what I'm saying?
No, I'm seeing people in the comment section affirm agreement with you and some with me. And I think it's fine to be anywhere on the scale. I always enjoy, especially publicly, when you and I are on opposing.
So one of the songs that we used to sing, or that the church sing, is "Walk with me while I'm on this journey. Hold my hand, guide my mind." So if I got goals, I want Jesus to walk with me. Sure. And I don't mean to sound churchy, but I just want Jesus to walk with me. I guess I'm saying this. I've had the finest of cars.
Sure.
They get old. I've had the biggest of houses. You got to repair the roofs on them. I've been everywhere that I wanted to go. And I think at this point, I really want Jesus.
Yeah, I want God too, but I'm trying to get to Croatia next year. Have you been to Croatia?
And I'm I might go to Croatia. I may go to Europe. I might, but those are not goals. And and then the other thing about your dad, dad lives a very spontaneous life.
Yeah.
I might have a flight in the morning and be gone for 2 days. And my mama always asks, when you coming home? And I say, I don't know. And whenever I go home, I go on a one-way ticket, and everybody wants to know when you're leaving. And I tell them, I say, I don't mean to sound bad, when I get ready. So I don't live, I just don't plan. I don't have the plans. I live a very spontaneous life.
Yeah. And so where then, because all of our lives have to have a high level of structure. How do you personally determine where you get to be authentic to your wants, and then where life's responsibilities make you? This is great. How do you determine when life's responsibilities pull you out of your natural state of a spontaneous life?
Well, so when you say want, I don't know what I want. I don't know that I want anything. I want my bills paid. So the majority of my bills are on direct pay. My monthly bills.
Be nice, mine are not. So I'm doing something wrong. Mine are not on direct pay. I'm looking forward to getting there though, for real. But not.
So,
no.
I mean, the bills are paid. So it's food in the refrigerator. It's gas in the car. So I don't even know. I don't know. It's just spontaneity. I mean, it's just a part of my DNA.
Sure.
And which has also been a part of my demise as well as a part of my success.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
It's part of my demise in my life as well as a part of my success.
Got a witness. Petaway's bills are not on direct pay either. Thank you.
But let me tell you this. It's harder to get to direct pay when you headed to Croatia.
I'm going to Croatia, Reverend. I don't care what you say.
When you just got back from Aruba and the Bahamas, so that makes it harder to get to direct pay. So
okay.
if you, and I always say to you, if your savings does not hurt, if you don't feel broke because of the amount of money that you're saving, then you're not saving enough money. And you're what, 29? You're getting ready to turn 30 this year. So at 29, if you let your savings, and I see all your friends on there popping up. If you let your savings and your saving habits, if you let that hurt, if you save until it hurts, most of us spend until it hurts.
Wow.
But if you save until it hurts, I mean, there's so many people now, especially boomers, who spent so much money for Christmas. And I tell you what, and this may not be a goal, this is just what they got to do. They got to spend the rest of this year paying off those credit cards. But if you zero those credit cards out, I don't say cut them out because you need it for credit score.
Worthiness, yeah.
Yeah. So zero the cards out and save until it hurts. And every week, sometimes you need to be able, you need to go online and look at what you got to realize you're not broke. And I have a friend that I tell her all the time, I say, listen, I may not have any money, but I ain't broke. You understand?
Yeah.
I may not have any money, but I'm not broke. And when you come to a place where you're not broke anymore, the Bible says money answers all things.
It's in Ecclesiastes, Reverend. It's in there.
Now, I may not know all them books but I do know it says money answers all things.
That's in the Bible.
And that's in the Bible. Inez Andrews said it ain't in red, but it's in the Bible. That's what really helps. If you manage your money, There's not a friend like only Jesus and money. You need money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and that just helps me. And I share that with other people because you've told me that for years. Save until it hurts. Save until it hurts. And I'm really just getting to the place in life where I'm deciding to save until it hurts. and save even when it hurts. Because I'll tell you what, Dad, you never miss what you had until you needed it, but you wasted it. There's no worse feeling as an adult than to have had a resource and lack it now, and you need it, but you wasted it. And so to not waste and I mean, we waste resources so frivolously. If somebody's on here and wondering how you can do better in 2020, buy more grocery and eat out less, right?
Just about to say, you like Five Guys burgers. Those burgers are almost $10 a piece. You can get
$14 a piece.
$14 a piece. You can go get a pound of ground beef and make your own burger and make 5 burgers. And so Dad would rather make the burger than pay for the burger to be made. And that's how. So a lesson learned for me from the Kenneth Whalums and the Jim Netters and the Paynes and those guys from the old days was managing. And so we started off talking about self-care. And so even the question of why do I do what I do? Why do I do what I do? Why do I have to spend? Why do I have to have every style that comes out? Why? What am I covering with these name brands? And what am I doing with these name brands? What is it about that sells me and make people, what's the message that I'm trying to prove by, I got a polo on, but
see, I have on no name brand. I want the people to see that I don't have any name brand on because it's not about me tonight.
And I want the people to know this was given to me for Christmas. Yeah, so if there's a lesson tonight, because you got a lot of young preachers on tonight, save now and it'll make you glad later. A small sacrifice now will give great dividends later.
The name of that book that I referred to, for you all who have goals, of course, please check. If spiritual goals is one of your goals, you can get it on Kindle and start reading it tonight. I like to read on Kindle so I can read on my iPad. Richard Foster's book is a great one for spiritual growth. But when you talk about goals and reaching them, one of the non-spiritual books that I find myself continuously reading is a book by Darren Hardy. And that book is called The Compound Effect. The Compound Effect. And it talks about the compound effect is essentially small, consistent decisions over a span of time and their impact over a long time. Like if you have an interest-bearing account and you put a small amount of money in it regularly, it will grow because that is the compound effect. And the same effect happens with our behavior. You want to lose 100 pounds. How about, just cut sugar out, watch that compound with walking a little bit. And then maybe start lifting 5 pounds, lift 20 pounds, lift 30 pounds. And before you know it, you will discover, you're reading The Compound Effect, very good. I love that book, Brandon. You will discover that you will be able to do a lot with a little if consistency. Dad, let's close on this. That consistency piece is something we undervalue because in our culture, we like big, we like shiny, we like glitz and glam, and we want it immediately. We want a rags to riches story over a short amount of time. We want to go from the trailer park to the $1 million homes, and we want that experience. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It happens for a lot of people. But for most of us who will become millionaires, and I say us intentionally because my name is on the future millionaire list, and I'm not talking about faith. I'm talking about math. Come on, somebody. Wake up, say, I'm talking about math, all right? And so most of us who will ever be millionaires will not be millionaires because we make $1 million. We'll be millionaires because of the power of compounded interest. Right? We'll be millionaires because we save a little over time and not because we do a big thing and somebody pays us $1 million check, right? And I think that's how life works. If you want big impact in your life, if you want a big experience, if you want to reach a big goal, it's not going to happen because of one big decision. It goes back to the elephants and mosquitoes. Our consistent small decisions will ultimately reap a huge harvest. I am a living witness, as I know you are, Dad, that small, consistent, positive choices will yield for us the kind of results that we know we want to have. LB, I agree. It's not what you earn, it's what you keep. That's exactly right. And so I think in our choices every day, in the choices we make, we get to be who we want to be. And of course, that has for believers, that has a twist on it. You get to be who God allows you to be, or who God empowers you to be. But at the end of the day, God has given you an autonomy. Going back to Genesis, God did all of this work to create all of these animals. And you know what he did? The God who gives autonomy, he says, Adam, I made the animals, but you named them, right? And in the same way, the creator God has given us so much better way. You're not going to make no money telling people about Jesus. No, you won't make $1 million telling people he died. And so, in the but I just think it's so important that we understand the power of our small choices. That, for me, when we talk about maximizing a new year, that's the title of this talk today. I would say a key takeaway is to appreciate small, consistent choices and trust the process. God gave Adam autonomy, and we are begotten of Adam, and we have an autonomy. And I don't even mean to get churchy like you, Dad, but I encourage everyone, name what has been created. God gives us that autonomy. He says, listen, Adam, name all these animals. What do you want them to be? Right? And so when it comes to your life, when it comes to the relationships that you have, name them, describe them, co-create them. And I think our lives will be better when we appreciate the small things and tend to them consistently.
And so my conclusion is, for a better 2021, which is what everybody is saying, better, as if there was not a 19. You understand? As if we didn't live in 2019 and everybody was saying, I'm looking for a better. We've always looked for better. In 2018, we were hoping for a better 2019. In 2019, we were hoping for a better 2020.
Yeah.
And in 2020, we're hoping for a better 21. And so I go back to what I said to my folks today and what I'm saying to young preachers and people, period. And it's consistency, sure, but forget your failures. Don't wallow in yesterday. Don't wallow in yesterday. Give up those things. I think what holds us back is ourselves. Grudges and thinking and the mentality. Release yourself. Free yourself. Give liberty to yourself. Restore some relationships. Many of us are in bondage in our own prisons, in our own jails, and don't even know it. That we are the persons that's holding us back, that I'm holding myself back. How I feel about you, Rickey Jr. I don't want you to achieve. I don't want you to succeed. And because I go to sleep with that in my mind, I can't even plot out my next spontaneous moment.
Wow.
Because of my thinking and this prison that I'm living in. So release yourself to a freedom that allows God to, if you're living a spontaneous life like me, you still need God to lead you and guide you. If you live a planned life like you do, Rick, you still need God to lead and guide your plans. And then turn away from transgressions. I always say it's some God in this.
Yeah.
It's some God in this. One of the young preachers hit me up today and was telling me about what happened in his church. As a matter of fact, he called and prayed with me. And I said, oh, you got the Holy Ghost. And he said, it's some God in this.
Yeah.
I think what we all got to remember that in our lives, because most of the folks listening to us are Christian folks, but even in being Christians, we got to understand it's some God in this.
Yeah.
It's some God in this. It's some God in the decisions that we make. It's some God in the thinking that we do. And only God can help us to be consistent in, if it's reading the Bible for a year. I can't tell you how many times I've tried. But see, again, I don't set myself up for failure. Not now. I tried 40 times 40 years ago to read the Bible all the way through, like it was a book. And then I came to a reality. Well, that wasn't how God and my relationship with God is, that I need to. So again, what's the purpose?
Sure.
Is it for knowledge, or if it's for to be able to say I've done it? But for me, I don't need to read it just from Genesis to Revelation. I just need to open it and see what God is leading me. And like the song said, where he leads me, I follow. And then just turn away from things that you know what's good for you now. You know what hurts you now. You know what's good. You know the people in your life who are good for you. And you know the people who are not good for you. And sometimes we are attracted to the people that are not good for us. We are attracted to failure. We are subtracted to things that drags us down. Rick, we've been on here longer than we came late, but it's time to go.
We've only been on here for an hour and 6 minutes, but we are done. An hour is our time. Dad, it's the first Sunday of the new year, and you apparently going to have a very similar year to what you had last year. But I'm getting ready to have the best year I've had so far.
Well, I tell you what, one thing you learn that waking up, those eyes popping open in the morning, if they pop open in the morning, that's the best day. That's the best thing can happen to you.
Yeah.
Whether you get to Croatia or Saudi Arabia, the Bahamas, if those eyes pop open in the morning, you've had a good day already. And I live like that. And I say to everybody, live like that. Understand the value of those eyes coming open.
Yeah.
Understand the value of these limbs moving. And I really think the older we get, the more we appreciate. My daughter say, believing for a new thing. When them eyes open in the morning, that's new. When them legs move, and when your brain tell them legs to move, and those legs move, that's new. Because I got folk laying in the morgue right now. I got them laying in the morgue right now that them legs ain't moving no more.
Yeah. So, all right, let me get you off here because you'll talk all night. All right, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Thank you, Dad. Everybody, y'all please share this. Let's get some folks to hear this wisdom. Our whole purpose for doing this, really my purpose for doing this, is to kind of have some private conversations in this public space with my dad. He's a bag of wisdom, and we're excited. Dad, thanks again for doing this. I'm not going to beg you every Sunday to get on here like I did today, okay?
All right. Okay. I'll let you go there. Okay.
Everybody have a good night.